And moving on to the West Asian country of Turkiye, where there seems to be no end to the ongoing protests over the former Istanbul Mayor Ekrem Imamoglu's arrest. Hundreds of students hit the streets of the country's largest city of Istanbul for the sixth straight night of protests. Major clashes broke out between the agitated protesters and the police, days after a Turkish court's ruling over corruption charges against Imamoglu. Now, the decision has ignited Turkiye's biggest protest in over a decade. The protesters in Istanbul gathered in front of the police on the road to Taksim Square, and another crowd demonstrated on the Galata Bridge to block traffic. Crowds were seen chanting anti-government slogans and waving flags. Residents also applauded and banged saucepans in a show of support for Imamoglu. Protests also broke out in the capital city of Ankara. Riot police were seen dispersing protesters with water cannons as they supported the opposition CHP party's call for continued demonstrations across the country. Now, this came despite a ban on street gatherings in several cities. So far, the police have arrested over 1,000 protesters and supporters of the embattled Imamoglu since the protests began last week. While on Monday, at least 43 people were detained, including a few journalists, for the unversed strong opposition leader, Imamoglu, has faced several developments around him in the last 4 days. He went from being the mayor of Istanbul to getting detained, interrogated and jailed. He also lost his mayorship after a probe against him over graft and terror links. Meanwhile, Turkiye President Recep Tayyip Erdogan broke his silence on the ongoing political turmoil. He said that the ongoing protests over the jailing of Imamoglu had turned into a movement of violence. Turkiye Premier added that the CHP will be held accountable for the country's injured police officers and also for the damage caused to any property.
Together with our nation, we are following the events that began after a street call by the main opposition leader following a corruption operation centered in Istanbul, which quickly turned into a movement of violence. 123 of our security personnel were injured in 5 days due to attacks by marginal organizations and city bandits.
Erdogan also said that the CHP should stop provoking citizens. He concluded saying that the opposition party's show would soon end and that they would feel shame for the evil they had done to the country.
Like every game played without faith, their show will also end when the curtain closes. At that time, when they look back and if they have the slightest of respect left, I believe they will be ashamed of the evil they have done to the country and the people.
The CHP opposition leader, Özgür Özel, described the anti-government protests as an act of defiance against fascism. He also called for a boycott of pro-government TV channels, particularly those that are not broadcasting images of the protests. Özel also urged people to boycott businesses that were close to the government.
Look, Erdogan, you were saying they would protest on the first day, slow down on the second and forget on the third day. It has been a week and as the young says, this is just the beginning, we will keep fighting.
Meanwhile, the opposition party has also elected Imamoglu as its candidate for the 2028 presidential election. The party said out of a total of 15 million votes, over 13 million non-party members were in favor of Imamoglu's nomination as the presidential candidate for 2028. Jailed Imamoglu is considered to be the strongest rival against President Erdogan. Last year, Erdogan faced his worst electoral defeat in municipal elections, when Imamoglu's party won in Turkiye's major cities and even defeated Erdogan's AK party in former strongholds. Erdogan government's latest actions have been criticized as a politicized attempt to hurt electoral prospects and to silence dissent. With such an unprecedented situation, will the Erdogan-led regime be able to restore the peace?
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
I love India.
Presence, occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India, what we saw in Kashmir.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly.
Iran, maybe Russia too.
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
Not over 50%.
Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.